the saying goes that south of 40s there is no law, and south of 50s there is no God. How about this?
I always want to try and make things better, whatever it is. If it's physics, how can this be improved? How can that be better? When I see something in business, how can we do it quicker? How can we do it cheaper? And it's the same with travel. Let's make it stronger, let's make it deeper, let's go more remote. So it's an endless search for something new. Hi, I'm Chris Brown, a modern day explorer if you want to call me that, and my aim is to become the first person to visit all 8 of the planet Earth's poles of inaccessibility. A pole of inaccessibility is a point on a landmass that's furthest from the ocean in any direction. There's 2 exceptions to that, which is the northern pole of inaccessibility, which is the Arctic, and then the Oceanic Pole of Inaccessibility, which is called Point Nemo, which is the point furthest from land anywhere on the planet. This expedition's to Point Nemo. It's in the southern Pacific Ocean, and it's 2,688 kilometers from land in any direction. There's 3 islands that is closest to: Pitcairn, Easter Island, and then Maya Island in Antarctica. It's going to take us about 10 to 11 days to get to Point Nemo from where we're at currently, Puerto Montt in Chile. We're going to go to Point Nemo and then head back up to French Polynesia and disembark there. It should take us about 3 weeks in total. The expedition will take place using an expedition yacht called the Hansi Explorer. So it's quite a good, strong boat. It's got ice rating of E3, which is very strong. It can break through multi-year ice in the ocean. So it's a good, strong boat. It's used to doing expeditions. One thing that's important for this expedition is it's got a big range. Its bunker allows it to do about 8,000 nautical miles. And we're going to need a lot of that. Because if you remember, it's 3,700 kilometers from anywhere. So we've got to do that, and then another 3,700 to get to land. So we're going to need to use 8,000 nautical miles worth of fuel to get there. So we might be on fumes by the time we get up to Papeete. It's another expedition, isn't it?
Forward, you let go headlines. Forward, let go headlines, remaining on the one screen. On the aft, let go everything.
Starboard 5.
Starboard 5, all 5 to starboard.
Okay. 210. This section here. This is. First few days, no, but we're getting there. So the forecast is first 2 days the waves are coming up to 4 meters, 5, and peaking at 5.1.
How are you feeling?
These are the poles of inaccessibility. So he's been to the one in the South Pole, okay, which is quite some distance away from the geo.
Instruments and spacecraft are the extension of our senses. Our aim is to understand the forces of nature that shape man's environment.
With the Goddard telescope in space, we can sample radiations emitted from within our own galaxy. With the OAO, man will go a long way toward solving the mystery of the creation of matter.
When you're at Point Nemo, the closest human habitation is the space station, which is around about 400 kilometers away. Point Nemo is also known as a graveyard for spacecraft. So when the international space agencies from America, China, Russia, when their spacecraft have run out of life, and they usually ditch them near Point Nemo because it's the point furthest from land. So I'll be wearing a helmet when we're there, just in case anything drops out of the sky.
Russian space officials will send an 11-minute pulse up to the aging spacecraft to send Mir on its final journey to a watery grave in the Pacific east of New Zealand.
We in the space sciences look from planet Earth to our solar system to the far reaches of the universe.
There might actually be more spacecraft there than fish. As we get towards Point Nemo, we should see the prevalence of wildlife dropping off as we get further from land and closer to the most remote point. So we'll be making some notable observations of wildlife. So has anybody been to Point Nemo before? The maritime professionals say that it's quite likely nobody has been to Point Nemo, ever. Certainly been some expedition yachts going in the area. And then there's the Great Ocean Race. They go close to Point Nemo when they're racing around the world. But Point Nemo wasn't a mark on their race. So we can't say with any certainty that anybody's been there, and we can't say that they haven't. So the purpose of our expedition is to remove that doubt and to prove that somebody has been to Point Nemo. The temperature of the sea at Point Nemo is 7.2 degrees. That means that if you fall in the sea, you've probably got about 20 to 30 minutes of life before you need rescuing. The water depth is about 4,000 meters. You might be worried about what's down there, but you shouldn't be too worried because scientists call it one of the least biodiverse areas on the planet, and this is because there's 3 giant current systems all come together there called the Southern Gyre. It means that there's not many minerals and organic material in that area. There might not even be any fish.
So now we have 3.6 meters waves, and as we go along, dropping to 3 meters tomorrow morning.
I'd say this is twice as difficult.
This is my galley. You gotta be beautiful, thin like me here to work.
There, and switch on faster. He bring us all the way out. We are talking about
The word Nemo in Latin means nobody, or no one. The vastness of the area is really hard to comprehend. It's actually 22 million square kilometers of ocean, and we'll be in the middle of that. And there's one of the biggest dangers. If we get into trouble, if the ship starts sinking, who's going to find us? Such a big area. It's not a shipping lane, we're just going to be alone.
running to Point Nemo.
I'm so relieved we've finally reached land. Been at sea for about 20 days. We've done 8,800 kilometers. It's about 5,500 miles of just sea and more sea and more sea and more sea. When we were at Point Nemo, that circle was 22 million square kilometers of sea. That's all we've seen, up and down, up and down, up and down. And here we are, land. We're in Papeete, which is the capital of Tahiti. We arrived earlier today. It's only taken half an hour to get the boat in position, but we're so excited to be on land at last. I am really relieved. I'm going to get down there and not wobble for a change.
The other thing, when we were in the ocean doing the swim, before we got the flags out and the videographer was in taking a film from beneath of me swimming, and we came up and all these birds had appeared. Now, the scientists have always thought that this was an area of low biodiversity, and there's not supposed to be any fish or anything in this area. But all these seabirds suddenly appeared from nowhere, and we're talking about 20 to 30.
Oh, there was loads.
20 to 30.
Yeah, absolutely loads of them.
One noticeable one was an albatross.
I mean, there were quite a few albatross in the end. There were about 6 or 7 albatross and about 20 of these smaller blackbirds just flying about.
One took a particular interest in us. And by particular interest, I mean really close interest. So it came down, and Adam, the videographer, didn't actually see this, but you know when geese take off from the water, they kind of run across it? This thing did that across the sea towards him. He was looking the other way at the time. Without a doubt, it was a kind of attack. And then this thing came within a metre of us and just wasn't bothered. It was looking very menacing. And do you know the wingspan of an albatross?
I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, it's more than 3 metres. And they weigh 12 kilos themselves, so they're quite big birds. Massive wingspan.
Huge beak
and
as well.
The beak is what was bothering me. It's 15 centimetres long. It's hooked and it's serrated, because it's plucking fish out there. So it would just, and to it, we're just like a football-sized thing bobbing on the top of the ocean. We tried to scare it away. I tried to kick at it, but I had flippers on, so I couldn't get my feet up properly. And in the end, the Zodiac came across to chase it away, and it wasn't bothered.
It did not care.
It was only the last few centimetres it actually got out of the way. So, it was I'm king out here. I'm apex predator, and you're food.